Hey everyone, welcome back. SQL, a structured query language, has its own set of commands, just like any other language. These SQL commands act as a translator, letting us ask questions to database, retrieving the data we need, and even manipulate it within the database. This video explains the different types of SQL commands, what each type does, and who uses these. Additionally, let's execute them on PostgreSDB to understand how they work. So without further ado, let's get started. There are 5 types of SQL commands: DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DQL. Let's go one by one. First one, DDL, which stands for Data Definition Language. What does it do? Think of DDL as the architect's blueprint for a building. It allows you to create and modify the database's structure, including tables, columns, constraints, and relationships. Who uses these DDL commands? DBAs, or database administrators, database designers, and developers who are responsible for creating and maintaining the overall database schema. These roles require a strong understanding of data modeling and database optimization. What are the DDL commands? They are create, alter, truncate, and drop. Let's look at the syntax and the example of each of these commands on PostgreSDB that we installed earlier. We are on the PostgreSQL DB now, and the default database that you're seeing here is Postgres. Let's click on the query tool here. So this is going to be our playground or query editor to play around with our queries. So the first SQL command that we are going to try is create. Let me first give the syntax here, then build an actual query on top of it. All right, what we are going to do? We are going to create a table with a table name, adding columns with its associated data types. Let's create a table employee. Create table employee. Your columns could be ID, name, and date of birth. ID whose data type can be integer. Name is a string data type, which could be varchar. Say some 20. This 20 determines the data size or the length of your column name. Date of birth is date data type. Let's execute it. All right. Your employee table is created. Let's see schemas under public tables. Okay, let us refresh this. See here, employee with the columns ID, name, and date of birth. Next one, alter. It is used to alter the structure of the database. This change could modify the characteristics of existing attribute or add a new attribute. When I say attribute, that is another word for column of a table. Switching to PostgreSDB. Now let's use alter command to add a new column into a table. This is the syntax. Alter table, employee. Let me copy it. Let's add city column. What is the data type of city? Varchar again. Executed. Let's refresh the table. See, city column is added. And the same alter command is used to modify the existing column in the table. This is the syntax. Let's add table name. Which column do we want to modify? Let's modify ID to employee ID. Execute. Let's refresh this. See, ID is replaced with employee ID column. That's how Alt command works. Next, truncate. It is used to delete all the rows from the table and free the space containing the table. I am saying it is used to delete the rows, but we didn't even insert any rows yet to truncate them. So let's park it for now. We'll come back to it. Last one under DDL commands, drop. It is used to delete both structure and record stored in the table. Its syntax is the simplest one. Let's go to Postgres again. This is the simplest command, drop table name. Employee. Let's refresh the tables. There is no table. Let's recreate it quickly for our further practice. See, we got our table back. This wraps up the DDL commands. Let's move to the next category, DML commands. DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. What it does? It manages the actual data within the database. This includes inserting new data, updating existing data, and deleting the data. Who uses it? A wider range of users can leverage DML commands, including DBAs, developers who need to populate and modify data for applications, data analysts who might extract and prepare data for analysis, and even some business users with limited access for specific tasks. Here are some commands that come under DML: insert, update, and delete. The insert statement is nothing but a SQL query again, which is used to insert data into a table. Let's open the Postgres again. Here is the syntax. Let's replace the syntax with the table name and columns as usual. ID, name, date of birth. These are the three columns that we have. What are the values do we give here? 101, John. Since these are values, let's put them in quotes. For integers, it doesn't require any quotes. Let's execute it. For us to validate whether the table is reflected with the inserted rows, let's use the select command. See, the inserted row got updated in the table. There is another way to insert values into the table. Here is the syntax for that. If you notice, there is no mention about the column names. Then how does the system know which value has to be inserted into which column? Remember, in our previous session, we discussed about it. Rows do not follow the order, but the columns do. So even if you give the values directly, the values are assigned to columns from left to right. Let's give the values as 102. All right. Execute it. Let's re-execute select query. See, there are two rows. It followed the left to right order. By any chance, if we miss the order, it'll insert different values as long as the data types match. But if the data types do not match, say for example, if I execute Tim first and then 102, the data types of name and ID are different. So it throws an error. When you mention the columns, we need to take care of the order of the column names. That's how insert works. Next one, update. This command is used to update or modify the value of a column in the table. Here is the syntax. Let's build the query. Employee. Let's modify the column name to Tom. We need to give a where condition for the system to identify which record to modify. So let's take the where condition as ID equal to 102. So we wanted to change the second record whose name is Tim. Let me execute the select query before I run the update query. See, the name is Tim. 102 record's name is Tim. With the update query execution, let's rerun the select query. See, the change is reflected from Tim to Tom. This is how update works. Last one, delete. It is used to remove the rows from a table. Wait, do you recollect? I mentioned the same definition even for truncate command. So what is the difference between truncate and delete? While both offer the same record deletion, truncate is a faster operation that removes all records from a table without considering any conditions. Delete, on the other hand, provides more flexibility by allowing you to remove specific records based on conditions and offers the ability to roll back the operation. So the choice between truncate and delete depends on the specific requirements of the situation and the desired outcome. Remember, this is one of the frequently asked interview questions in your data roles. Now delete. Again, which record to delete? That we need to provide in the where condition. ID equal to 102. We are planning to delete the second record. Again, before executing the query, I'd like to show you what the employee data is. You have two records. We are executing delete statement. Query executed successfully. Let us rerun employee table. See, there is only one record. That is how we would be able to delete the required data from the table. By the way, we parked one of the commands, that is truncate, under DDL. Let's get to it. What does truncate do? It is used to delete all the rows from the table and free the space containing the table. That's what we discussed, right? Let's switch to the Postgres syntax to see this and its execution. Here is the syntax. Replacing the table name. Executing it. Let's run the select query. Records are deleted. So that's how truncate works. If you see the difference, while using delete command, we have added where condition, whereas truncate doesn't require any where condition. It deletes all the records from the table. Also, one more question. When we say DDL commands deal with structure of data and DML handles data manipulations, why truncate command is under DDL, which actually deletes the data of the table? Although truncate physically removes data from a table, it's classified as a DDL command due to its underlying behavior and implications. Meaning, when the records are deleted using truncate command, it deallocates the data pages associated with a table, effectively resetting the table to its initial state without any data rows. Unlike delete, which removes data row by row and maintains transaction logs, truncate is a more direct and efficient operation that resets the table's data storage. In summary, while truncate may appear to be a data manipulation operation, its impact on the table's underlying structure aligns it with the characteristics of DDL commands. Clear? Let's circle back to our next set, DCL commands. DCL stands for Data Control Language. What it does? It controls accesses to the database and its objects. DCL commands act like access cards, defining who can enter the library and what actions they can perform. This includes creating users, granting or revoking permissions, like read, write, and execute, and defining roles with specific access privileges. Who uses it? Primarily DBAs and security administrators who are responsible for managing user access within the database. DCL commands are grant and revoke. As it sounds, grant specific privileges to a user on a database object. Say for instance, grant insert comma update on a particular table to XYZ team. Next one, revoke. It revokes previously granted privileges from a user. Say for example, revoke insert comma update on customers table from marketing team. We don't have to practice any of these grant and revoke commands as we don't often use them playing in the data analytics roles. Like I mentioned before, DBAs and security level admins are responsible for managing these kind of user accesses. Next one, DQL, data query language. What it does? It allows you to retrieve specific data based on your requirements, acting like a powerful search engine for your information. Who uses it? DQL commands are the most widely used category. DBAs and developers who need to extract data for their applications, data analysts who use queries to explore and analyze data, testers and data quality engineers use these to validate the data, and even some business users with reporting needs can benefit from the DQL commands. We have already seen with our employee table how it works. Of course, we have used a simple query select star from employee, but going forward, we'll do lots of hands-on exercises using this DQL. Last but not the least, TCL, Transaction Control Language. What it does? TCL plays a crucial role in maintaining data consistency within your SQL database. Imagine a group of tasks you need to complete at a bank, like depositing a check, withdrawing cash, updating your address. You wouldn't want some tasks to succeed while others fail. Here, TCL acts like a safety net, ensuring all operations within a transaction are completed successfully or none at all. The commands are commit, rollback, and save point. Commit permanently applies all changes made within a transaction to the database. Once you perform any of the data transaction using an insert query or an update query, if you add commit after your transaction, then it permanently saves all the changes made within the transaction. It is committing basically. Next one, rollback. It undoes all changes made within a transaction if any errors occur or a transaction is not completed successfully. Similar to the previous example for commit, here you have written update statement or an insert statement. Then if you roll back, it reverts all changes since the transaction will not be successful due to some error. Say for example, you have updated a customer email with an invalid email ID and you don't want all the transactions to run with that invalid email. The moment you realized, you add the rollback command which reverts all changes since the transaction will not be successful due to the error. Last one, save point. It allows you to roll back to a specific point if needed. Say for example, I want to run certain transaction, but after that, I don't want to run any. So you can use this save point to a certain checkpoint so that it saves until that point. Again, who uses it? Primarily DBAs and developers who work with transactions to ensure data integrity. Let's not worry too much about practicing TCL and DCL commands. Let's focus on what is needed for us to get successful within the data analytics umbrella. This wraps up our session on SQL commands. Let's dive more deeper with our SQL queries from the next video.